Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of What Woke Looks Like. I am your host, Yolanda Yo, the Spiritualist Tops, and we are in for indeed another treat this evening. We're going to be talking to none other than the professor himself, Tyrone Goodwin, spiritual advisor and owner and founder of the Goodwin Institute of Infinite Learning. But before we get into part 2 of this series, I want for us to go ahead and pay homage to the female solution for allowing us an opportunity to spread this wonderful message through the platform. So stay tuned for that, and we will be right back.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the female solution.
And we're back, just like that. So last week, for those of you who tuned in, I had the privilege and the esteemed honor of interviewing and talking with my longtime spiritual mentor and friend, Professor Tyrone Goodwin. Born and raised in South Georgia, Tyrone is an educator, a spiritual advisor, a mentor to many. But I think something I didn't mention last time is what a beautiful, beautiful spirit he is and how loved he is by so many people across the globe. He has touched so many lives, and he has a special place in the hearts of his family. He's a family man. He has brothers and sisters, nieces, nephews, cousins, and a host of adopted family who really, really cherish him. I believe in giving people their flowers while they yet live. And Tyrone, I'm giving you your flowers. So without further ado, I want to bring Tyrone to the stage. Hello, Professor.
Good evening. How are you? Thanks to you and the Solution for having me back.
Yes.
Thank
Part
so
two. Listen, it was so good and it was so nice. We had to do it twice. Okay.
I had a good time.
I had a blast. I just cannot begin to tell you what a blast I had. Everything just flowed so seamlessly, and we had such an invigorating conversation. Mm-hmm. And so what I wanted to do was to kind of pick up where we left off last time, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
And I know that we touched on so many subjects last time. It was just hard to get them all in, but I want to go back, because when I introduced you, we talked about your family and the support that you had gotten from them from the time you were a small kid up until even today. I know that your parents are no longer with us, that they are now in the ancestral realm, as well as your grandmother, who you also paid tribute to. But we did not get a chance to talk a lot about your mother. We talked about grandmother. We talked about your father. We briefly touched on your mother, but we didn't really get a chance to delve deep into the impact that she has had on you as a spiritualist. So I wanted to just kind of touch on that a little bit. Trelawney is here tonight. Hi, Trelawney. And she's saying she loved the introduction. You're one of her favorite people.
Mine. Hi, Trelawney.
Listen, Libra gang. That's the Libra gang right there, guys. We
Proudly.
get these Libras together. I'm telling you.
Yep.
But yeah, but I want for you, please, if you don't mind, just talk a little bit about mom and what she meant to you.
Definitely. My mother, she was a very special lady to me. Even her name is special to me. I always said that if I had a daughter, I
Uh-huh.
would name her Sophie. My mom's name was Sophie. She was a
Beautiful name.
Scorpio, and she was very, very, very knowledgeable about spiritual things, and she was very wise. Being a Scorpio, of course, she had this very private, intense type of energy. And
Woo.
yeah, very, very intense. And she was stern, very
Mm.
stern, and she was very disciplined. I could remember the earliest memories I have of her. She was a very lucky woman. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
she would do you remember, I don't know if you remember, in the South they had this circulation of a black newspaper called Sunny Boy. Do you remember that? I think it
I
was,
remember Sunny Boy.
yeah, and I believe it was published in Chicago, but I'm not sure. And she could decode those little cartoons in there
Okay.
and
Yeah.
play the numbers, the night house, and catch the number.
Right.
She would catch
Right.
the number all the time. Um,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. I remember Sunny Boy.
yeah, you remember Sunny Boy?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God. You just brought back so many memories, the nostalgia.
Yes, yes, yes. And she would. Dr. Yo, can you give me 1 second?
Sure,
I'm
of course.
sorry. I'm so
Of course.
sorry.
That's okay. In the meantime, what we're going to do is I want to go ahead and I want to just highlight really quickly. Um, just going back, I want to double back to the fact that Professor is the owner and operator of the Goodwin Foundation and Institute of Infinite Learning. I also want to thank him for getting me my start on my spiritual journey, or rather helping me to cultivate my journey as a spiritualist. I've had several mentors, but he has by far been the most impactful. He and his foundation just really helped me to dig deeper into my gifts and to feel comfortable in my skin, whereas being a spiritualist was somewhat of a shift from the previous roles I had played. Okay. And he's back. All right. I just wanted to highlight that. Yes, sir. Now go ahead and tell us a little bit more about Miss Sophie.
My apologies.
No, no problem.
She was a very lucky woman. And I could remember the earliest things that I would see her do was she would take a bowl of water,
Mm-hmm.
and she would go outside and sit it under the moon. I'm sorry, and she
Uh-huh.
would place a dime in there, and she would wave her hands across the bowl. And I
Mm-hmm.
asked her, I say, Mom, what are you doing? She was like, I'm pulling in luck from the moon. And just as sure as she would do it, I could remember her, catching the number and with a
What?
large amount sometimes. Yes, she was a very lucky lady.
You
She
just
would,
blew my mind.
yes. Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
That is so interesting. And she would
Yes.
just put the bowl with the
On a,
dime in it with the
at a full
water
moon, at a
on a
full
full
moon,
moon.
and fill it with water and put a dime on the inside and just sweep the energy from the moon that reflected upon the water. She would just sweep it to herself. And she said it would make her lucky, and it did. And she was very knowledgeable with the Book of Psalms. She
Mm-hmm.
could, anything that you needed, a Psalms to pull you out of court.
Mm-hmm.
If you needed protection from an enemy, if
Mm-hmm.
you needed money or anything, she knew exactly which Psalms to go to. And in Hoodoo, we cherish Psalms,
Yes, we
because
do.
they're very powerful keys to protection and
They are.
blessings and things. But
Yes.
I learned a lot of, and she taught not just me. She taught us, different things about protection, how to protect ourselves.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. Well, I think that being as that you brought that up about your mother, Miss Sophie,
Hmm.
we'll say rest well, Sophie. Miss Sophie Ibaye,
Yeah.
that Yoruban word.
Yeah.
That really gives the blessings to our ancestors. We bless them in the ancestral realm.
Yes.
But I think it's a great time, since you said that and talked about hoodoo, let's go ahead and highlight the fact that it's Hoodoo Heritage Month.
Yes, it is. Happy Hoodoo Heritage Month.
Happy Hoodoo Heritage Month to you as well. And while we're at it, why not just talk a little bit about hoodoo and what it's all about? I just had a quick clip that I wanted to share with our viewers. October is Hoodoo Heritage Month. For those that may or may not know, Hoodoo Heritage Month is a celebration of the hoodoo tradition. It involves the veneration of ancestors and honoring spirituals and traditions, as well as ancestors, but it's also a spiritual system or religion with roots in Africa. It was practiced by our enslaved ancestors, and their descendants are still practicing it even today. The practice does include working with roots and herbs and spirits, as well as a set of beliefs and rituals. And I think that it's so crucial that we remember to honor ourselves and our culture in this month. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yes, but one thing that sticks out to me about hoodoo is stories of slaves always carrying the High John Conqueror the root. I had a mentor, his name was Wes Leland, and he told me he was very wise in going out into the woods and finding different herbs and roots to work with. He knew how to go out in the woods and identify High John the Conqueror and the devil's shoestring, and he would show me how to identify those things. He said to me, the slaves would carry High John the Conqueror on them to keep them protected, not just while they were working, but to keep them protected if they decided to run from the south to the north. So hoodoo is very special to us, and it's a very powerful thing, and we do still practice it.
And yes, we do. We do still practice it. And I think that's another great place to just kind of talk about the seemingly demonization, if you will, of hoodoo, which is no different from the demonization of other African spiritual practices in our community. I know you and I have had these conversations 1,479 times.
Yes.
But talk to us a little bit about why that is.
Well, let's start with venerating ancestors. Some people feel like if you practice the spiritualism of hoodoo or any African spiritualism, and you mention the ancestors, people feel as if you are worshiping the ancestors. Veneration is not worshiping. Worshiping is committing to a certain type of lifestyle. Yes. A certain type of, and maybe even a certain type of ecclesiastical lifestyle. Yes. Because you incorporate those things about who you worship or what you worship consistently and daily. Veneration is giving homage to, and people don't understand, at the moment that you attend a funeral, you are venerating an ancestor.
Yes, you are.
You're saying, I remember you. You're saying, I miss your presence here. You're saying, I brought you flowers to say thank you for the joy and, and the whatever it was that you brought to my life. Veneration is paying homage and saying thank you. Veneration is not worshiping.
Yes. And I feel as if, my theory has always been that the reason that these practices have been so ostracized by the enslavers is so that they could control the narrative.
Of course.
And it started with them. But if I tell you a lie long enough, you'll begin to believe it, won't you? If I tell you that I'm really white, for example, Okay. And you keep saying, but Yolanda, when I look at you, you got brown skin and you kind of got, these African features, the full nose, the full lips, and, so on and so forth. I say, I get all of that, but I'm telling you, I'm actually Caucasian. Well, even though I don't look the part, if I say it enough, you might not believe it, but somebody will.
Right. If you say it enough, along with mental anguish and mental,
Yes.
abuse, someone would definitely believe it.
Oh, someone will definitely begin to believe that.
Yes.
Someone will definitely believe of that. And I feel as if this is what happened. But, it really dates back much further than people realize. It didn't just start with the slave masters on the plantation. It really started with the people who were tasked with rewriting the Bible. Right? That's where a lot of that started, because when they had that Hampton Court Conference, King James hired 47 scholars. And he said, I need you to do some creative writing, if you will. I need you to go in and, make this more palatable, so to speak. What we don't know is what was added to, what was taken away.
Right.
And what is a complete lie?
And what is a complete lie?
Do we?
We don't know. So, it's even been recorded that the Bible began with 80 gospels. And King James only allowed for there to be 4. So 76 are missing,
So 76 are missing. I was curious because I wanted a copy of the Ethiopian Bible. So Corey bought it for me.
Oh, good.
My husband bought it for me. Now, I true confession, I haven't read it yet, but I have it, and more so than anything else, I wanted a copy of it so that I could do some cross-referencing. So I'll be talking about that as time goes on. I'll dig a little deeper into that. Just at a glance, it wasn't quite giving what I thought it would give, but I'm going to reserve judgment for, a deeper dive.
Oh, okay.
So let's just look really quickly. What I like to do is just look really quickly at some of these terms that are commonly misunderstood in the spiritual community.
Okay.
Going back to hoodoo, which is merely a set of spiritual observances, traditions, beliefs, and that includes, rituals that were developed by our people.
Yes.
But it also has that sprinkle of Christianity in it as well. Because who can do hoodoo without the Book of Psalms? Have you ever known anyone?
No one.
And how could you?
How could you?
But also highlighting the fact that hoodoo is a closed practice as well. It's closed. It's closed to our people, right? But there is that the African spiritual knowledge, as well as other indigenous American botanical knowledge that is infused into it. Okay, and then to go back and highlight ancestor veneration, as you said before, and I put up a definition here. It's a central practice of honoring and connecting with ancestral spirits to gain guidance and power. Here's another term that I really do want us to look a little more into: root work, also known as conjure. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay, just hearing you say that takes me back to my grandmother again.
Okay, come on.
I can remember them talking about people knowing how to talk to fire. You're familiar with that term. If someone gets burned, you take them to someone in the community and they'll talk the heat or the burning sensation out of the burn.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to learn. My grandmother didn't know how, but she took me to someone who knew how. Her niece knew how. And the rules of learning was very strict. A man can't tell another man, a woman can't tell another woman, only a woman can tell a man, and you can only pass it to one person. And she took me over there, and when you learn the prayer that you say, you can only
Mm-hmm.
hear it spoken to you once.
Mm-hmm.
So when you hear it, you've got to remember it.
Right.
And many of us in our culture, in the Black American culture,
Mm-hmm.
practice that still to this day. And
Mm-hmm.
that's root work. That's hoodoo.
Mm-hmm.
When your child is teething
Mm-hmm.
and you say, let's put an egg in a sock and hang that sock over the door. That's
I
root
did it.
work. You did it.
I did it for all four, man.
Yes, that's root work. That's hoodoo. If you have a child with thrush and you know an elder in the community, a man or a woman who's never seen their father, and you let
Mm-hmm.
them blow into that child's mouth to clear
Mm-hmm.
out the thrush, that's
Mm-hmm.
hoodoo. That's root work. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just that common in our community. But
Yeah.
when we hear of people who practice it or work it, we want to demonize them, but yet we're using it all the time in
Right.
our community. You know, we're
Yeah.
using it all the time.
All the time.
When we say don't sit a baby on the table, they'll steal, or whatever the case may be, we're
Yep.
still referring to hoodoo practices.
That's it. It's
Mm-hmm.
as simple as that.
Just as simple as that.
You know, it's funny that you brought up talking the fire out of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And Trelawney is here saying how powerful this is. What a
Mm-hmm.
powerful thought that is.
Mm-hmm.
My mother had the fire talked out of her
Uh-huh.
when she was a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother kept telling her, "Stop running in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get burned." Granny was boiling water on top of the stove.
Mm-hmm.
And Mama evidently was a little pistol. And so she decided, okay, I don't care what they say, I'm still running through this kitchen, and ran until she knocked that hot, boiling pot of water
Wow.
onto her head.
Oh, wow.
It started here and burned her from the top of her head all
Wow.
the way down her back.
Mm-hmm.
My mother is no longer with us,
Mm-hmm.
but if you could have seen her,
Mm-hmm.
she had not one scar.
Exactly.
My grandmother sent
Mm-hmm.
for a lady down the road
Mm-hmm.
who came and quote unquote talked the fire out of my mother.
It works.
So I know it's real.
It's real, and it
My
works.
thing is, how can you feel comfortable with
Mm-hmm. Right.
demonizing, refuting,
Mm-hmm.
rebuking, and turning away from something that has actually benefited?
Exactly. Exactly.
Maybe not you,
Mm-hmm.
but someone close to you, someone in your family. I know it has benefited me. I had a fever so high once that they said they couldn't get it down. They had taken me to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
They had done all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like a ice storm or something that year. So this would have been like maybe in the mid to late 70s.
Mm-hmm.
But there was an ice storm in our hometown, and I guess maybe people couldn't get out, so they couldn't get me to the hospital. And my grandmother was like, "Don't worry about it. I know what to do."
Mm-hmm.
And she sent for the lady across the street because she was like, "I need help with this."
Right. Mm-hmm.
And she sent for Miss Janie, who lived across the road. And Miss Janie came, and they got turpentine, and I don't know what else, but they put it under my bed.
Mm-hmm.
They had their Bibles. One sat in one corner, one sat in the other corner, and those women were praying, whispering, and saying, "I don't know what else. All I know is that my fever was so high I could barely see."
Right. Right. Right.
And I went to sleep. And when I woke up the next day, there was no fever.
Of course. Of course. That's the power of our ancestors teaching us that hoodoo and root work knowledge. That made me think of Ezekiel 16:6. When people, and it works every time, someone gets a cut or any type of bleed that won't stop, especially women, if they're on their cycle and it's just overly heavy, if they go to Ezekiel 16:6, when I saw you in your blood, I looked at you and I said, live. It'll stop the bleeding. You know, these things are real and true.
These things are real and true. We Trelawney is, and for those out there who don't know, Trelawney is my daughter. So but she's in the house tonight, and she said she never knew that.
Right.
I never told her that story, and she said
Wow.
she has chills just from hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
I know, because what happens is you can't help but have chills.
Right. Mm-hmm.
When you think of the power that our people have, how magical, that's magic.
And how old and ancient it is.
It's ancient.
Yes. It's to be respected and adored.
Man, you can't tell me I'm not the product of some powerful hoodoo.
It lives in your DNA, and all of our DNA. It's in us. It's in our DNA. Our ancestors are our DNA.
It does. I actually, because when I came along, my grandmother was 80 when I was born. And she was born in 1892.
Wow.
Okay. I come from old stock. Okay.
Yes.
So my grandfather was already deceased. All my great grandparents were gone. But I was talking to Spirit one night, and I was like, I'm just curious, how far back does this go in my bloodline? And my understanding, if I heard it correctly, was 4 to 5 generations back. Which could date back into the 1700s. But that's just hoodoo. That's just hoodoo. That's not counting the other stuff.
Right. It's very powerful.
Very powerful. Very, very powerful. So we are a magical people.
We are.
Let's talk a little bit about God.
Okay.
And the role that God plays in our lives as spiritualists who practice African spirituality and hoodoo. Let's talk about, so we're still talking about these misunderstood terms. Let's talk about polytheism versus monotheism, because as we know, there's a very common misconception that, we believe in all these different deities and worship all these different deities. So can you speak to that for me some?
Sure. And so this is probably going to be difficult for some people to understand, so I'm going to try to explain it best I can.
Okay.
And this sort of goes back to the Council of Nicaea.
Okay.
Constantine ordered the Council of Nicaea, which is maybe like 200 bishops, and him being the emperor of Rome at the time, to come together to distinguish specifically between God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Ghost. Those are 3 gods. And if you look at the modern church today, the modern Christian church, be it Caucasian or Black, they all have this argument or disagreement. Should we baptize in God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, the 3 God, or should we just baptize in the name of Jesus, the one God? Christians don't realize that when you are acknowledging God in 3 persons or in 3 different entities, that's polytheism. That's the worship of God. And African spirituality, what I love about African spirituality is African spirituality directs you to the God within.
Yes.
Be it Jesus, be it, be it Jehovah, if you're a Jehovah's Witness, be whoever it is. African spirituality directs you to look on the inside of you. Search your heart, search your soul, and find the God in you.
In you. That's
and be authentic with that. Right. And that's monotheism.
Right. That's monotheism. Thank you so much for highlighting that, because I think that that's been a common misconception just time and time again. And people don't realize that the very thing that they're denouncing, they're doing.
Exactly.
And how we get us to understand that, I don't know. It is like an age-old question I've been asking myself. I don't even know how to crack the code. I just don't. But what you said summed it up so very perfectly. It is literally polytheism. when you say God in three persons.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it is. Well, that is a great place for us to stop. It is now time for a quick break. And we're going to hear a little bit more from the female solution. And we will be right back. Don't go away.
Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair.
Hey family, this is Charles Humphrey of MCH Publishing, and I'm here with Ashada, and we at the Soulful Chicago Book what?
This is the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair, slamming.
We getting down in Hyde Park. Just run it down, my sister. Just tell us, for the people, a little bit about what we're doing here today and why.
You know, this is the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair, and this month is very important. I feel like we don't give it the type of recognition that it needs. But beyond that, I do all things literary, and we have so many ancestors that have taken a tradition of writing and done great things. Well, we have those of us that are carrying on that tradition, and nobody knows about them until now. So the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair is allowing us to tell our stories according to ourselves for our own benefit. And it's just beautiful. I mean, she could have been here today if you wasn't here, but if you were, it's been amazing. People came in consistently, children, and we have children's authors, we have nonfiction authors, we have fiction authors. This is really good, and it's about taking our own power in our own hands and doing what we do on the literary tip, though.
Right.
I gotta work, but I can't help it. Everything going too smooth. Now I just about bring my African shit like this. Bring it back.
And we're back. Like we never left. All right, I'm going to bring the professor back to the stage. Welcome back, Professor.
Thank you.
All right, so where were we? Talking about monotheism versus polytheism, trying to rewrite the narrative surrounding that. What do you think it's going to take? Because I feel as if in this current climate we're in, think about where we are with the government. Communities are really going to have to start coming together.
Yes. It's going to take us staying vocal and staying present. We can't hide. We cannot be silent. I've noticed that the more we talk, the more that the young people are listening. The more that people the more that people who are afraid to look beyond what they've been taught, the more they are listening, the more they're researching. So we just got to stay visible and stay vocal.
Yeah, I do believe that that's a key piece. And I think more now than ever before, people are, waking up to the truth, to the reality of what is happening all around us. But I also feel as if a key piece of that is going to be going back to what is tried and true. And I don't mean just going back to what your mama did and what your grandmama did and what your great grandmama did. You're going to have to take it way back. And people are going to have to be willing to tap in, listen to, our ancestors live within us.
Right.
Somebody posted something the other day on Facebook, I think it was, and they said, and the quote or whatever said, your ancestors are dead. Your ancestors are dead. They're not talking to you, they're dead. And then the commentary under that particular post, people were saying things like, that's right, what's talking to you is a demonic spirit. See how these things are being demonized. And I said, I wanted to say something, but I said to myself, you know what? Every battle I just can't be fought.
So, I want to prove to people, your ancestors may be physically dead, but they are very present, not just around you, but in you.
Yes.
Every time you go to the doctor and they give you this history, a medical doctor,
yes,
and they give you this history sheet,
Uh-huh.
Did your mother have heart conditions or high blood pressure or diabetes? And
Right.
you said yes, and you have it too.
Uh-huh.
That's because their DNA is in you.
Uh-huh.
When you
Yeah.
look in the mirror and you say, "Oh, I have a chin just like my dad," or
Mm-hmm.
"My ears are just like my mom," that's their DNA present
It
in
is
you.
present.
They
Yes.
are very, very present in you, in your blood.
Mm-hmm.
Ancestors that you may not even be aware of. I don't know if you remember or not. In one of the classes I teach you how to meditate upon your ancestors. You think about your mother and father behind you, and
Yes.
then you think about their parents behind them,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
their parents behind them, and their parents behind them, and it
Right.
goes on and on and on and on until you
Right.
can't imagine the number anymore. The,
Right.
all of that DNA is still present in you. So your
It is.
ancestors are always with you.
Always.
Always.
Always. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and then they come to us too in different ways.
Yes.
I've had dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw my aunt Vestella about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she was as clear as day in that dream. You can't tell me that wasn't her coming back to tell me something. But it's interesting because when she showed up, she didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at her because she was always a talker. Now this is like my favorite aunt, okay? Whom was a elementary school teacher for 40 years.
Mm.
Quite the talker, okay?
Mm-hmm.
A beautiful spirit, right? But she was showing me something. She wanted me to see these people.
Mm-hmm.
And these were some people who had attended, they were members of the church that I attended when I was growing up. And I'm talking to them, and she's walking in behind me. And she had on like one of her little cute outfits that she would always wear. And she was always chewing something, like some peanuts or pecans or something like that. And I'm looking and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, we called her Aunt Sis. I'm like, why is the Aunt Sis saying anything? She wasn't supposed to say anything. She was just letting me know that she was with me.
Right.
But
Right.
she wanted me to focus on those people and
Right.
the interaction I was having with those people. Oh,
Right.
you want to tell me my aunt was a demon spirit? I
Mm-hmm.
beg to differ.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've had any similar experiences or not.
Oh yeah, of course. Yes. I have those dreams almost nightly sometimes. But it
Yeah.
made me. It also made me think of an old hoodoo trick that I know
Uh-huh.
the old people used to do. When they
Uh-huh.
would want a good lucky number for lottery, they would
Uh-huh.
write a letter to an ancestor and not cross any T's or dot any I's. And
Yes.
and they would put it on top of a glass of water up under their bed with a dime for the postage on top of the envelope so that the ancestors could bring them a lucky dream. And it never failed.
Wow. That
Mhm.
is amazing.
Yeah, it never failed.
Okay, so that one I've never done. I
Uh-huh.
had not heard that one either. So
Yep.
I clocked that.
Right.
I clocked that.
Mhm.
Oh, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
But you have to remember, like you said, you don't cross the T's, you don't dot the I's.
No. Mm.
That's important.
Mm-hmm.
And then they will reveal themselves to you and give you those little tips and tricks and things
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time that I had this dream recently, there were some old things from my past that were being dredged up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she was just coming through to say, listen, you cannot allow what happened in your past to continue to dictate your future.
Right.
Here's a good dear friend of mine, really quickly coming in. Linnea Ingram is saying, I cannot stand the ancestor to demon pipeline. Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Whole time the naming pews after the saints who done passed on.
Exactly. Talk about familiar spirits. Pews and windows. Yeah.
What they put the doggone name on that pew and
Mm-hmm.
be talking about this Brother Johnson's pew.
Mm-hmm.
He sat here for 57 years.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the difference?
What's the difference?
What's the doggone difference?
And I've seen pictures of church ancestors hanging in the church. What's the difference?
Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
Linnea is saying a whole venerated pew. Amen. A whole
Yes.
venerated pew. Not only pews, but also sometimes bricks.
Mm-hmm.
Bricks. Sometimes when they're rebuilding, or they may actually do like a walkway,
Yep.
put the names in the bricks.
I've seen
Also,
that.
I have seen the beautiful stained glass windows
Right.
with the
Mm-hmm.
names. What else is that if it's not
Mm-hmm.
veneration?
Right. It's veneration.
It's veneration all day, every day. And
Mm-hmm.
so you're not going to sit here and tell me that these are demons coming through, especially when they come through and wound.
Or like some people like to say, oh, y'all are dealing with familiar spirits. No, you're dealing with familiar
No,
spirits.
you're. Come
Right.
on, talk about it. Talk about it. Tell them again. What are they dealing with?
Familiar spirits. Mm-hmm.
I don't even think people really know what that means.
They don't.
A lot of times we find ourselves quoting these cliches,
Mm-hmm.
Because they heard somebody else say it, but they really don't even know the context, the proper context
Right.
to use for these particular things.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So, just to kind of move on from that just a little bit, I want you to talk a little bit more about the Goodwin Institute, because, we told people that, you are the founder of that Institute of Infinite Learning.
Mm-hmm.
But could you talk a little bit about what made you start the Goodwin Institute, and maybe some of the courses that you offer through that? Because I've taken some of them and they're amazing.
Sure. I was inspired to create that institute from my godfather and my mentor, Robert Earl Robinson, who resides in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
A very knowledgeable man. And he's a teacher. He loves to teach, and I love to teach. And I thought to myself, well, how can I share? I'm getting all of this knowledge from this beautiful person. How can I not only use it for myself, but give it to the world? I had a professor one time to tell me that she realized she wanted to be a teacher so bad because she wanted to touch children, but she realized that she could teach more children if she became the teacher of teachers. So that stayed with me, and I wanted to teach. I wanted to reach more people through what I do spiritually by teaching other spiritualists how to do what I do. So at the Goodwin Institute, we offer classes in spiritual readings. We offer classes in spiritual work, work for court cases, work for healing. Really big focus on healing, really big focus on court cases. We offer classes on protection. We offer classes on prosperity. There are a lot of things that we cover. We even offer classes on mediumship.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I've taken mediumship from you. I received my certificate in mediumship. I've also taken your Tricks of the Trade class, parts 1 and 2. And the wealth of knowledge that I garnered, just priceless. Because again, now my mother admittedly was not as, and I'm just going to say it like we say it down here, she wasn't as hoodoo-y as my grandmother was. My mother was a more modern woman. And she would, sometimes she would tease my grandmother and be like, oh, mama, ain't nobody listening to that. Ain't nobody about to rub that stuff on themselves,
The beef tallow and all that. Yeah. Those good hoodoo root work tricks. Yeah.
Have we talked about the beef tallow
that
goes into the oven in a aluminum pan?
Yes.
With a white cloth over it, and then it would get pinned to the underside of my pajamas.
You smelling like steak all night. Yeah.
But guess what?
That
cough was gone.
Gone. It was gone.
For moose. Just out of here, right?
I want to, just sort of say this real quick.
Go ahead.
Veganism and vegetarianism has become so widespread now for healing and health that
Yes.
a lot of people don't even realize. If they're practicing that, they're practicing root work, because the same herbs that they're ingesting and using for healing, those
Yes.
are what our ancestors would go out in the woods and find to use to heal people. And
Yes.
what we would call, what we demonize root work as, that's root work.
It is.
If you're if you're eating, seaweed and spirulina and all of these other things, guess
Right.
what?
Right.
Yeah, you're practicing the craft.
Hey, baby, you up in the craft, all up
Yeah.
into the craft, okay? But
Yeah.
here's the thing. It's interesting because when I was growing up and people would talk about roots, they always made it sound like it was black magic.
Yeah.
So they would say,
There's nothing, even that term is demonized, and it should not be.
right.
Right.
Exactly. But they would say things like, we don't fool with so-and-so. We don't fool with her folks because they're what we call rooty. Rooty. And you would be like, Rudy? Well, and at that time I was like, what is that? Okay, and I probably was asking, what is that? While I had beef tallow on my chest.
Exactly.
Not realizing I was immersed in the rootiness all along.
Exactly.
But as a kid, no one ever really taught me that. I just saw it happening. And I heard the stories. Like even my grandmother said that she had gotten into some sort of bushes or something when she was younger. Maybe she was outside, because my grandparents used to farm. And so she might have been outside working in the farm or in her garden or something like that. And she said she was out early in the morning and the dew was on whatever shrubbery or bushes these were, or weeds, and it irritated the skin on her legs. And so she said Spirit told her to take some spit and mix the spit with, and I cannot remember for the life of me what she mixed it with, and to rub that on her legs. And that would heal that rash.
Wow.
I know I never saw a rash because it was healed long before I ever came along.
Yeah. That's
And then my mother would be like, oh God, here's mama again telling these old wives' tales, and and her just kind of, I guess, and I think that's a thing that happened also in our community, and I say it all the time. After the civil rights movement, I feel as if a lot of us wanted to denounce because we felt as if we were on equal footing with them. Now that we could go into their stores and ride on their buses and attend their schools. So it also created this sensation of, so now let me just get completely away from all of these things that are associated with Blackness.
Oh, you're creating theory now. Yes, you're absolutely right.
And that's all it is. It's a theory for me.
Yeah. I like that.
But there were some of us that held on to it and said, I don't care what, I'm still going to be a part of this heritage, of this culture, of these traditions. But there were others of us that said, I don't want anything to do with it because those are the things that made me undesirable to our, we'll just say, Caucasian brothers and sisters. I don't know what your thoughts are surrounding that, but that is just my theory. I'm like, why would we get to that point where we just wanted to denounce it all? Did we really think it was that bad?
Well, you're absolutely right, because at the point we felt like we had won the battle. We're winning. Why do we need that? And we're in this space and time where we need it most. We need it most. Because now things that are happening to us are institutional and systematic, more so than ever before.
Definitely. Most definitely.
And we need to rely upon the knowledge that our ancestors gave us to survive this. And people may not believe it, but we really do. And I want to say to everybody that's listening, if you don't know a spiritualist that's rooted in the book of Psalms and and rooted in herbs and roots and that knowledge, you need to get to know one, because we're living in that time. We're living in that time. You better get to know one and get to know one quick. And there are a lot of pastors, and I know. I still work for Christian churches. As y'all know, I'm a musician and I freelance. I know there are pastors who come to see me. Y'all may not know it. You may not know that your pastor, consult with me, but he and she, they do. I want to say that to you. You may not know that your pastor is an undercover root worker, but they are. I just want to say, before people start demonizing what Black people who believe in and practice African spirituality do, or any other spirituality, understand and know what your pastor is doing first. There's one person in that pulpit, and I'm telling you because I know. There's one person in that pulpit, when they leave out that pulpit, they become somebody else. And they'll use the term, like Dr. Yo was saying, black magic, to demonize it. But I want you to understand, and this is what I love about African spiritualities. They teach you that you cannot have a day unless you have a night.
That's right. Come
They
on,
work
somebody.
hand in hand.
Clock that, T.
They work hand in hand.
They do. Yes, they do.
You cannot demonize one without demonizing the other.
You cannot ever. Trump is saying, come on now. The Amen choir is in the building. Come on now. Amen corner is in the building. You can't have one without the other. But that's why when people invite me to their churches, Linnea Ingram is saying, preaching. You are preaching in here today, Professor. When people invite me to their churches, let me say this. I'm not saying I won't attend. I'm not saying I might not visit. But I want to know, who is your pastor, really?
Good question.
I get that you
powerful
like
question.
him and you are sitting under his ministry. But how well do you really know this man or woman of quote unquote God? Who are they really behind the scenes when they go home and take the robe off? What do they really have? Oil? I want to know about their oil. What is their oil? Before I set foot in there, I'm just saying. Because I've sat under some powerful ministries. My background in church is extensive. Okay. It wasn't no cakewalk. Okay. And it wasn't a little short walk in the park either. It is extensive.
Right.
Okay. I've studied long and hard. But I want to know if your pastor got some oil.
Right.
And oil meaning, where have they been? What have they been doing? What do they believe? Are they comfortable with what they believe? Are they believing what somebody told them? Or are they believing what they know to be true in their spirit? Do they believe the God in them?
Exactly. This is one that I've learned to recognize, discern. I'm going to use the word shaky. A shaky pastor is if they're always exhorting you, and I don't want y'all to take this wrong. I want y'all to understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
If they're always exhorting you to give an outburst of praise, if they're turning you on to excitement, and I had to learn this for myself. If you come in and they automatically want you to be excited or emotional, and tell you that your excitement and your emotion is the highest praise. Your excitement and your emotion is not the highest praise. The highest praise is how you treat yourself, your physical self and your spiritual self. And your highest praise is how you treat your sisters and your brothers, neighbors that you don't know. That's the highest praise that you can give the universe, is how you treat others. Because when you're treating people right and when you're treating yourself right, people can only see and admire the God in
you. That's it. That's it. That's it. And that's all. I mean, like, we can go ahead and pronounce the benediction now. That's it, and that's all. It's as simple as that.
Because if I'm in a building and you're trying to push me to be emotional, and excited, that lets me know that you're going to want me to pay you for that. There's a price tag on this.
Of course there is. Of course there is. Well, that goes back to the conversation that we had last week. And so while we're at it, before we close out, I mean, we may as well revisit what happened over at Perfecting Church in Detroit, Michigan. Okay. I'm sure everyone has heard about it. If you didn't tune in last week, I'm sure you've seen it on social media, where Pastor Marvin Winans was petitioning the parishioners of the church, of the congregation, to sow a seed and for a building fund, I do believe. And he scolded essentially a woman for not bringing the amount that he asked for. Now, this is kind of the aftermath, what happened in the aftermath, and we have a little bit more detail on the story. So we just wanted to kind of go back and share this really quickly. So
if you're giving 1 plus something else, we're going to come back and get that. I just want the 1 plus 1 to come. If you're on the finance department and you're prepared, come now, and let's give God praise as they come.
I give in faith and stand in unity with the vision of Perfecting Church of sowing this seed of $1,625 plus $375.
It's $2,000.
Plus my family and friends.
Well, say that. What you just said was just $1,400.
Wrong.
Not you loud and wrong with the money I'm giving you, talking about it was only $1,400. Sis looked like she wanted to take her check back and would have. Give me that. Amen. Amen.
That is a total of $2,000.
All right. Well, then I'm going to go by what you say.
Okay, so did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
So I still have an issue with it. Apparently there were different lines. So the lady who got admonished for giving her $1,235, Sister Roberta McCoy, was just in the wrong line, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But I still had an issue with it. And I think it's more about the spirit that these people are being spoken to, in. Even the lady who came up and told him what she was giving, and it clearly equaled $2,000. He was like, "Oh, you're saying $1,400." I'm like, "What? Is your math not mathing? What is going on right now?"
Well, you know what? This is how you know what we perceived was real, because everybody who saw that felt his energy. His energy said everything that his words were not saying.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It was like they were being scolded like little
They
kids.
They were. It was his energy. It was all in his body language.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, another thing that I wanted to bring up really quickly. So they were able to interview the lady who was scolded. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to bring up that video really quickly as well.
You're the woman in that viral video. Right. He did not rebuke you.
He absolutely did not rebuke me. Now, there's a difference. There was a correction, because let me clearly state that Pastor gave instruction on the lines to get into.
I was calling because the whole church was giving, and it was our day of giving, and the whole church was coming, and we didn't want people standing, the mothers and all that, so I was calling them by increments. And we had someone that had given out of before, and I corrected it, and I told everybody to listen and come when you call, and that's all that was.
Roberta told me Pastor Winans personally apologized to her.
We got a few comments coming in. Anita Washington. Hey, Anita is here saying it's such a much needed dialogue. Yes, it is, sis. And welcome in. Trelawney is saying she is sick of it. It's just all tired and played out at this point. Mm-hmm. But I think the saddest thing about all of this to me is the fact that the lady didn't even feel rebuked. And that speaks to
Stockholm syndrome.
It speaks to Stockholm syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's Stockholm syndrome. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want us, and we got to go ahead and wrap up. Gosh, our time. We never have enough time. Oh my God, it's already 9:00. But any final words that you just want to say along those lines regarding that clip or those clips or anything else, Professor, before we close out this evening?
What I always say when I'm online, if you never believe anything that I have to say, that Dr. Yo has to say, or anybody else, always believe the God in you.
That will help you overcome Stockholm syndrome.
That's right.
Linnea Ingram is saying it happens all the time. Yes, sis, it does happen all the time. Linnea is saying she has seen him do worse and she thinks she got off light. That's probably it. See, yeah. We get desensitized to being mistreated, and I want better for our people.
Right.
Trelawney is saying we need a part 3. Well, I'm not going to bother him again next week, but we will have him back soon if he will be willing to come back.
I'll be glad to.
Thank you so much, Professor. Please follow the Professor. He is on all social media platforms. TikTok.
And thank you, Female Solution. I appreciate you.
Yes, thanks. We're going to run a clip from them in just a second to close out. But you can find Believe the God in You on Instagram. Tyrone Goodwin is always, making us think. Go into that think tank on Facebook. You can also find him on TikTok. So give him a follow, reach out to him for some of his services. He is an amazing, amazing spiritualist, mentor, and teacher.
Thank you.
I love you, Tyrone.
I love you too.
And we'll talk again soon. Have a wonderful night, everyone. And we're going to close out with a word from the Female Solution.
Thank you, Female Solution.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.
Good night.